Hi, and welcome back to X's and O's with Dan Orlovsky. I'm Mike O'Hara, and brought to you again by Xfinity. And Dan Orlovsky, before we get to the X's and O's on the Minnesota Vikings, next week's opponent, let's look back a little bit. Just a crushing 23-22 loss for the Detroit Lions on your network, ESPN, on Monday Night Football. You saw that game. You've been with the Detroit Lions. You're close with that team still. What's the feeling of that team, and what did you think as you watched that game unfold?
It's tough for me to encapsulate kind of how the team might feel since I'm not there. I've been outspoken of my feelings of it, and it's inexcusable. It's going to be a very difficult thing for them mentally to get past, right? You feel for the great majority of the game that you go up and play a good football game and earn your way to a win, right? You earned your way to a win, and then it gets taken away from you. That's a lot of things emotionally that you have to overcome. So that'll be the challenge for the Lions moving forward. And like you mentioned, the difficult game that's ahead. But you still try to find positives. You try to find the good that you did, both offensively and defensively. And that's for Matt Patricia. This is a earn your paycheck type of week, really, with your football team.
Well, Dan Orlovsky, Detroit Lions are going against a team that's all of a sudden has a hot quarterback. Much maligned Kirk Cousins, a kid from Michigan State. Comes back, he's got 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 games and 3 big ones against the Philadelphia Eagles. Thought that'd be a tougher game than it was, but it turned out to be a pretty good game for the Vikings. They're going to start right here in the first quarter. 6-yard touchdown pass to Thielen. Give us the X's and O's, break it down, tell us what you see.
The biggest thing that stands out with this receiving core, and we'll start with Thielen, is their route running. You cannot get a tell of what the route is. Very rarely do teams run what we know as double moves down in the red zone. This is an out and up. But watch Thielen as he gets to the top and turns his head back to Cousins. That looks like an out route to the cornerback. And it's just a beautiful throw by Cousins, but it's all set up because Thielen is such a great route runner. Thielen doesn't lie to you. He doesn't tell you anything with his route running. And that's going to be a big challenge for this Lions secondary and the corners who have been doing such a nice job in their coverage this year, is trying to stay on the hip. You can't pay attention to the head of the receivers because so often they're using it as a weapon for them. But what makes Thielen so good is he's such a precise route runner, and they'll do it backed up, they'll do it in the middle of the field, or they'll do it in the red zone with them.
All right, Adam Thielen, it was your turn. Take a seat. Stefon Diggs, come on down. It's the second quarter. A long connection here with Stefon Diggs for a touchdown. Give us the X's and O's, Dan.
You know, there's some stuff with this Vikings offense that you can pay attention to. The first thing is some of these wide receiver splits. And when I say that, I mean where they're lined up in relation to the football. Are they outside of the numbers? Are they touching the numbers? Are they in the middle of the numbers? There's tells there of what kind of routes they'll run out of what certain split. This one, Diggs is about a yard inside the numbers. Mike, they're putting him there for a reason. They want him to do 2 things. They want him to run a post on play action, or a big crossing route to the other side of the field on play action. Well, this one is again play action. They bring the crosser from the opposite side, and here comes that big post. And so as the DBs, not only the corners, but as the safeties, communication. Hey, what split is he in? What kind of route can we anticipate? What kind of route can we eliminate? And then make sure you protect yourself against it. I'd say that's the biggest flaw. This play is the Eagles' corner never protected himself against the potential for the post, the likelihood of the post. So big play action team, and understanding that as a secondary, you can eliminate and then kind of accentuate what routes will come from what splits these receivers will be in.
Well, we'll see how Darius Slay and his pals handle that. Let's go on to the third quarter and a little more of Stefon Diggs, maybe more than anybody wanted to see, especially the Eagles, his 3rd touchdown catch of the game. Break it down. Tell us what you see.
Well, just like we talked about with Adam Thielen, outstanding route runner. But I talked about splits inside the numbers by about a yard. Well, we should learn that they like to run what? Posts out of that split. And Thielen and Diggs, same side here. Diggs, nice job of trying to sell an out route here, but he's inside for a reason. Watch the double move. I'm going to fake the out and come back to the post. Is this good coverage by the corner? Yeah, it's pretty good coverage, but it's not good enough, and it ends up being a touchdown. The second thing is this. The Vikings are a play-action football team, and they're a play-action football team, and they're a play-action football team. You cannot consistently bite up on the run fake and think that you're going to slow down this passing game. So you got to be really disciplined at the linebacker level, or if you're a safety, drop down with your eyes, with making sure that you don't get sucked up too much because that throwing lane is going to be there. So good route runner by Diggs. You got to see his split, but that second level has got to be just as important in this pass defense as the secondary corner and safeties wise are.
Well, Daniel, it's easy to get drawn into their passing game for a reason with Thielen and Diggs the way they've been playing, but they do have a running game led by Dalvin Cook, but it's not Dalvin Cook on this play. It's Alexander Madison, 35 yards. Break it down. Give us the X's and O's on this play. Tell us what you see.
Yeah, both really good backs. Dalvin Cook is still their guy, but Madison has done a nice job of taking advantage of his opportunities. Two back here, slot formation, and what they really want to do is get to the line of scrimmage and go, okay, are you guys going to pressure us? Are you going to play zone on us? Are you going to play man as we have our tight end up top by himself? And if they get you at an opportunity where they think that they can isolate you on their fullback on your linebacker and have you overfit some stuff, they really want to run to the weak side. This is just really a weak side isolation play done with draw footwork. You can tell by the offensive line, they're trying to marry it a little bit to what we just saw from that Diggs play down in the red zone. Watch the offensive line at the snap kind of stand up a little bit, move horizontally, the fullback trying to find his linebacker, and then this is an easy run per numbers by Madison. But you see there's unblocked guys. That's why fitting the run is so important. What I mean by that, Mike, is you got to make sure if you're supposed to be in a gap, you cancel out that gap. If you're supposed to send the ball outside, you send the ball outside. Send it inside, you send it inside. So it's going to be a challenge for this defense to make sure that they're canceling out their gaps, they're where they're supposed to be, and then fitting the run the right way because both backs are good.
Well, Dan, it sounds like a pick your poison, run versus pass, but that'll be a wrap for this week. We'll come back next week and tell you how the Lions fared. Ford Field, Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, Sunday at 1.
You got it, bud.